Welcome to the season finale here in the Salt Lake City Swarm franchise. 63-68, only about 9 wins away from our total from a year ago of 72. We are within striking distance of the wild card chase. We are right now 5 games out, and in my opinion, I'm going to do everything in our power to get us there. So that is going to be a goal through the next month and a half. We do have a pretty tough schedule, though. We play Pittsburgh, LA, and Chicago to end the month of August. They are all around that playoff marker. Dodgers are definitely there. They're winning the NL West for sure. But then when we hit September, we do play some opponents we could go on a run against, and we do run up against the Dodgers once again. Now, at this point in the season, the top 3 players who we want to be performing the best are in Oliver Gonzalez, who is a rookie, going to be the front runner for Rookie of the Year, Sal Frelick, and then last year's Rookie of the Year, Terrence Madlock. Behind them, Fritz De La Cruz is a really good player for us this year, hitting .269 with a slugging percentage of .435. He's been pretty steady for us, but the rest of our team has been up and down. Brendan Rodgers has been okay. Luis Lara has been okay, but Elvis Esparza is having a tough rookie year. Bryce Matthews, who we acquired, is also down there in average. Alec Thomas is definitely not a contributor at all this year. Ryan O'Hearn is aging, and just so many guys that we really need to kind of replace going forward in the future. And that's kind of what this season's kind of telling us, that we just need a lot more talent offensively. I would say pitching wise, we're actually not doing bad though, like right in the middle of the league. And that's kind of where you want to be as a young developing team. Now, one thing that we have tried to find here in our organization is a lefty pitcher. And we have kind of went back and forth between Elijah Vaughn and Miracle Macklin. Vaughn has been kind of the guy that I've gone to this year, but I think that, we just need to give something a little bit different here. And Miracle Macklin is down at AAA right now. His numbers are not great, but I just don't have other options at this point here. We do have Nikita Bailey. I could try him out. He's 29 years old. But I do think that Macklin is somebody that gives us a different look as a lefty. Like, he has a high K per 9 rating, which is a lot different than any pitcher we really have in the organization. So I'm going to give, Miracle Macklin one more shot, then move Elijah Vaughn down to AAA, and we'll just see how that goes. And I'm sure eventually we will end up moving Vaughn back up for the September call-ups. So here towards the end of the month of August, we go against, like I said, some wild card contending teams, including the Pittsburgh Pirates. And here we are up by 1, and we do end up getting the win in that one, 3-1. So that's a very good win. So then we get to Miracle Macklin's, I wouldn't say debut, but his call-up back up to the majors. And he's going to face Bobby Miller, who, remember, we had him for a short stint, and then we ended up DFAing him, and he ended up getting picked up on waivers from the Pittsburgh Pirates. So here we are now trying to win this series, because I think if we just string along some series wins, we could possibly make a run at that last wild card spot. Who knows? So here is Macklin on the mound, and we will showcase him today as he gets O'Neal Cruz, who is an impending free agent going into this offseason. He strikes out swinging at the outside slider. Now, Macklin has a 3-pitch repertoire. That fastball can reach mid to upper 90s. It can hit 98 at times. And I think that, his problem is he gives up a ton of hits. But here he gets a nice 1-2-3 inning to start out this game versus the Pirates. I think we do have a lot of question marks going into the future. I think, finding that lefty, probably 2 lefties going into the offseason, I think that's going to be a big priority. And I think Macklin has the potential to fill one of those spots, but I think he's really got to show me down the stretch. Bottom 2 now. Here is Brendan Rodgers coming through. That's a line drive off of the left field wall. The throw in from left will not be in time. Luis Lara makes it in from first base. And Lara does have decent speed. He's a guy to keep your eye on going into next year also, just because right now his spot isn't solidified in the future. But here is Macklin now in the 4th inning. He gets a fly out there and holds up the runner at third. And we're still up 2-0. On to the 5th inning. Here is J.P. Crawford, who we tried to acquire at one point in the season. And he swings and misses at that one. And we are through 4 innings of work. On to the top of the 6th inning. Here's a chopper up the middle and a nice play that time by the new acquisition in Bryce Matthews, throwing across his body. Gets the out at first, but now with runners on 2nd and 3rd, we go to our bullpen and bring in Dennis Santana, who has been actually really, really good for us since we've acquired him via free agency. And here he gets an inside slider in breaking 2. Brian Reynolds walking to the wrong dugout, and he will swing and miss, and we end up winning this game 3-0. And these are the games that I really like, where we get an early lead and our bullpen comes in and does their job. And we get a win versus one of our former pitchers in Bobby Miller as well. But Miracle Macklin, like I said, is a guy to consider going into the future. Is he going to be a part of the rotation or maybe just a spot starter? I guess we'll have to wait and see. We then go up against the Dodgers in the next series. Bases loaded, down by 1, bottom 7. The Dodgers already pretty much have the West locked up. But can the Swarm make some noise towards the end of the year? Fastball over the middle, and Sal Frelick hits this one hard down the left field line. That gets to the wall. It's fielded by Teoscar Hernandez. We try to score 3, and Esparza is thrown out at home, trying to extend this lead to 2, but 2 runs do come across the plate. Terrence Madlock is up next here, and he gets an outside curveball and will swing and miss through that pitch. And we do end up getting the win after that 2-run double late by Sal Frelick. And he has been really, really good since we acquired him before the trade deadline. So now we go up against the Cubs, and I wanted to play this series particularly for a batter they have coming up, and it's Royce Lewis. But Kevin Hopp does get the start in this one, and Kevin Hopp has been one of our better acquisitions so far in this series. We acquired him coming into this season, and he has been tremendous. 28 games started. He's got a 117 whip, 17 quality starts at this point, and he's going to have 100 strikeouts on the year. Now, he's a guy that doesn't give up many hits. He only has 3 pitches, and it's a slider, a changeup, and a fastball. Very good movement on his pitches, and that's the reason why he doesn't give up many hits. But here is Royce Lewis, an impending free agent coming into this year. I wanted to face him at least once in live action here. Royce Lewis, 28 years old, going to be a big-time acquisition here for a lot of teams, a big-time target. We'll see if we can get him out on this one, and a high fastball does get the swing and miss. And Royce Lewis strikes out, and maybe, just maybe, he could be a Salt Lake City Swarm next year. So we do end up quick managing this game to go further and move this season along, and we end up actually losing 6-2. Kevin Hopp ends up giving up 3 earned runs, and we end up with the loss. So we end up here at the start of September now, and the September calls are going to be really, really simple for us. We're going to move up Ben Rice, who we've obviously seen here at the MLB level many of times. Remember last year, he started out the season super hot, and then he just cooled off quite tremendously, and I'm going to give him a second chance. And the main reason is because, I'm going to need a big lefty bat come next year, and I don't think he's a starter for us. I think he's proven that he's probably not a starter, but he's probably going to be a guy that can hit for power. So we do go into the month of September, and we do start to, get a little bit of consistency going, but we really need to learn how to close out these games late. So here we are, bases loaded, down 3-2 again, but here is Fritz De La Cruz this time. It's a hard ground ball to short, and we cannot come through here. And this one goes into extras, and we end up losing this one 4-3 in extras after Hunter Dula does give up an RBI single, and I believe that was the 13th inning, and we end up losing that one. So we win 2 of 3 on the road versus the Yankees, by the way, and now we kind of take a break in the action because now that we are 69 and 74, we really probably needed to catch fire a lot sooner in this season, and it seems like it could be a little too late. So I do decide to go down to the AA and AAA levels and just check out our teams there and look at some of the prospects that we could possibly have up at the MLB level next season. Now, one of those guys has the potential to be Enrique Reyes. He is the number 2 prospect in all of baseball, and he is known to be a two-way player. Now, pitching-wise, he's doing amazing. A 115 whip, around a 3 ERA, but offensively is where he really, really struggles. Hitting 181, that's not good at all. He is progressing in all of his attributes, but putting that into, actual action, it just doesn't look good right now. I think in order for him to be an actual two-way player, he's going to need probably another full year and probably another full year after that developing his bat, if I really am being honest. But as a pitcher, he could probably contribute maybe next year, but more than likely the year after that. Our number 2 prospect is Eddie Rodriguez, who we drafted in the 3rd round last year. He's probably still 2 years away, but he's progressing pretty nicely. Bob Engel was our 1st round draft pick last year. He is our number 3 prospect in our organization. Now, the one bad thing about Engel is that he is a terrible fielder, so this is probably going to be our DH in the future, and that's probably what his ceiling and floor is going to be. And then there's Cam Smith, who we acquired via trade in the offseason. Former 1st round pick, but he's just not put it all together here in his first season with the Swarm, and I'm just going to decide to go down and see what these guys are doing, and especially just check out the progress of Enrique Reyes, because like I said, I do want to see a cool two-way player in this series, but I think his bat is just a little too far away from being ready from the majors, and he's going to need some development for sure. So here is Eddie Rodriguez on the mound. This is my first time actually playing with him, facing Dave Elliott, who hits one to right field. That was a fastball right over the middle. Now, Eddie Rodriguez's fastball does get up to the upper 90s. I think he can develop that velocity a little more. And he does have a splitter which he can throw, in that low 90s. He has a curveball, splitter, changeup, and a fastball. So he's got a good 4-pitch mix. But here he lives one over the middle for Juan Lucero, and I'm starting to recognize some of these names from our past draft classes. And there is a double down the right field line. It will score 2. And Eddie Rodriguez gets shelled already in the 1st. There's still no outs, by the way. So got a pitch out of this one. Now facing Carlos Santos. Now, Carlos Santos should sound familiar to you guys. Mark Chambers and Carlos Santos. Santos was interesting because he was a guy that I just found in free agency, and I picked him up last offseason. But here he grounds into a double play, and that will be the 2nd out of the inning. So now let's see if Eddie Rodriguez can pitch out of this 1st after only giving up 2 runs, and he gets a ground ball to short, and there is Cam Smith actually playing short today. Will make the throw over to 1st. So here is Enrique Reyes. I do want to get him some at-bats. He is hitting in that 8th spot. It's not great, but I do want to see what he can do. He's way ahead of that pitch, low 1-2 pitch, and he cannot make contact with that high fastball, as his ratings are not friendly for just making contact or fouling pitches off. As here he's late on that one, but an outside fastball, probably good timing for an outside pitch, and it's just a fly ball in foul territory. And his bat just cannot get going this season. Down to 180 on the average on the year, as he gets one more at bat and a high pitch fly ball into short center field, and that will be caught. So Enrique Reyes not really doing well at the plate, but I do want to see how he's doing on the mound, because that's exactly where he shines. And he is a pretty special pitcher. Now, I know a lot of you guys have said when we draft players that only have 3 pitches, we should add one. I'm thinking about it with Reyes. He only has a 3-pitch repertoire, but we'll see what you guys think down in the comment section. Now, here is Bob Engel. and he hits the ball pretty well. This year he has been up and down a little bit. Now I do want to see him slug a lot better, because right now he's at AA. He's facing AA pitching, and he hasn't faced AAA pitching yet. And there is a chance we might leave him down in the minors for a whole nother season just to get his bat developed a little bit more before he moves up. But we'll have to see. We're going to make a decision on that probably after the offseason to see what we pull in free agency. But I do still like him as a good prospect of ours. Now let's look at Enrique Reyes on the mound. He's a special kid on the mound. He can throw 101 mile an hour pretty consistently. And that one you can see up in the zone. That's tough to keep up with. Now with one out, a 1-2 pitch. It's low and it's a sinker. And just that little bit of difference between that fastball and that sinker does make the world of difference at the plate. But here is Benny Williams, who gets a good piece on that pitch and hits that one up the middle for a single here with 2 outs. We'll see if Enrique Reyes can bounce back from giving up a single there, facing Josh Moylan. And this is just a fly ball to right field, and it will get him out of the first inning. You know, our minor league teams do need to be better, so I'm definitely going to be looking to probably look at some free agents that are, you know, some minor league players. I do want those levels to be a lot better. But Enrique Reyes just needs to develop that bat a little bit. That one was a terrible swing. And here's Tom Benitez in the bottom of the third inning. He goes down on that curveball. Enrique Reyes pitching a pretty good game so far. No run support so far for him, but there's a pitch, 99 mile an hour inside fastball. Could not keep up with it. That brings up Marcel Argue to the play as the top of the lineup comes up, and Argue does not miss. That one is crushed, and it's a home run to left field as Enrique Reyes gives up a solo shot. But you know what makes a pitcher really good is when you give up those home runs, they're just solo shots. No base runners aboard, so I'm happy to see that one. The Flying Squirrels were facing Sixto Sanchez on the mound this game, and I was hoping to get some nice at-bats versus him, but I decided to just, you know, simulate this and get to the end of the game and see if Enrique Reyes gets a win in this one. And it looks like he will, as the Flying Squirrels do end up winning that one 7-2. And we move back to the MLB level. So looking at who we face, the Rockies, the Braves, Rockies, Dodgers, and Houston. I mean, we face probably 2 series worth of bad teams, and then the rest are actually pretty good. But we are right now probably too far out. 76 and 71 are the Diamondbacks, and we are 70 and 76. So basically, we need every team in front of us to lose all these games, and we need to win all of them. We need to go on like a major hot streak, and the Diamondbacks look like they are poised as they have their top pitchers returning from injury. So no, not a good sign for us. So we got to make sure we get the wins we're supposed to win here. Here we are in the top of the 9th inning, down by 1 at Coors Field with the top of our order coming up to the plate. Here facing Jeff Criswell is Sal Frelick. He's been hitting in that leadoff spot since we've acquired him. 0-1 pitch. This one hit to left field is going to be a fly out as the runner will hold at first base. That brings up Oliver Gonzalez, still the leader for Rookie of the Year. He hits one to left center, and that one will not get down. And 2 outs here in the 9th. Terrence Madlock, our last hope in this one, hitting 270 on the year, and he does muscle one up the middle. That gets through. We won't send the runner because I don't want the game to end like that, because now we have Fritz De La Cruz, who hits in that 4 spot coming up to the plate. And he's been really, really clutch with runners in scoring position this year as he gets a pitch outside, but way too early. A weak line drive to first. And we do end up losing this first game on the road at Coors Field. So now we get to Saturday's game. We end up simming that one. We end up winning 10-3. And now Miracle Macklin has the start. And we can only get 1 run across at Coors Field, and we're down 2-1 late here in the top of the 9th inning. And here is the same exact scenario we just had. Jeff Criswell on the mound in the meat of our order at the plate. Here is Fritz. 0-2 pitch, and he swings and misses through that one. He was 0-for-3 on the game. That brings up Brendan Rodgers playing against his former team as he gets an inside pitch. A little late on that one, and he hits it to right field. And that one will be the second out of the inning, as I believe that's Zach Veen out in right field. And now that brings up Bryce Matthews, and it's just a fly ball to center field. And we will lose this one as well. So we drop 2 out of 3 versus the last place Colorado Rockies. Not a good sign as we are coming towards the end of the year. So as we start to get through these last bit of games, I know it's over when we can't beat the Rockies on the road. We end up dropping 2 of 3 versus Atlanta. We then return home, and we end up losing the first to the Rockies, winning the second, and then we get to the third, and we're up big, 9-2. So I'm not going to hop into that scenario there, even though that was a pretty cool one. Sal Frelick hitting pretty well this year. We end up splitting with the Rockies, and now we go into this Dodgers series, and I thought this was a cool scenario. Ben Rice, 10-game hitting streak, at least, moved up now, and he's hitting pretty well. Getting him some at-bats in the minors has probably helped him a little bit see the ball better as he faces Roki Sasaki, and just too late on that inside fastball. Ground ball to third, and Ben Rice will possibly end that hit streak. He gets one more opportunity here versus Tanner Scott, and this could actually tie the ball game up, and outside slider. He cannot make contact, and we will lose this one as well. So the ending of this season hasn't quite been what we've wanted it to be, but here we are in season 4. We end up losing 6 straight as we get to this final game on the year. I don't know what happened, but we just absolutely collapsed here. And now we face the Houston Astros, who are a good team. And early on, we actually get a run in the first. And Brandon Woodruff, our best starter, is on the mound. So now he gets bases loaded in the first inning, gives up one, gives up another single, and then a 3-run home run. And it's 6-1 just like that. You cannot make up how this season has gone. And we're just going to quickly go through the rest of these innings because I just know with this team, if we're down by 5 runs, even in the first inning, this team just does not have the offense to come back. And that's going to be something that I want to address in the offseason. We need the ability to get those gutsy wins. We don't really have that right now offensively. And it's going to be a big, big need for us going in here. And we end up finishing 74-88, and that's just, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth because last year we were 72-90. We had steady improvement by 7 wins at least going year to year, and then we only get a 2-win improvement going into season 4. So really, I'm going to be looking to make some changes and some big ones. We'll see what is out there in the free agent class. I know it's going to be a very good one, probably the best free agent class we'll probably see in this series. So we are really going to be preparing that with our roster moves we make at the beginning of free agency. But we do miss out on the wild card chase. But look at the Arizona Diamondbacks. They end up actually missing the playoffs after they also collapsed. So that is very telling, and they're going to be missing a lot of guys to free agency next year. So it's going to be interesting to see how they retool as well. But one thing I love about free agency this year in MLB The Show 25 is that you do have that kind of 3-player focus, kind of, I don't know what they call it, but it's just a lot of fun. And you just never know who's going to sign with what team, which is awesome. Royce Lewis ends up winning MVP. So seeing that we were looking at Royce Lewis earlier in the episode, I now know it's going to be much more difficult to sign him. Look at the jump he had. He was hitting 258, 274, and 253, then makes a big jump to 301, hitting 48 home runs. Wow, he probably just earned himself a major contract. I'm curious to know how much he's going to demand. Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts were right behind them. Let me know down in the comment section below if 117 wins for the Dodgers is the record. I'm not even sure. It should be close, though, I'm guessing. Oliver Gonzalez does confirm that MVP, though. So we have 2 back-to-back MVPs. But we got to make the playoffs. That is the main focus going forward. And that's really going to be our focus going into the offseason. We have the playoffs in mind. We had a goal of making the playoffs, like possibly going to this year. That was the goal, but now it's a must. We must make the playoffs. So let's just recap these players' stats, and I want to talk about each player and what I think about them going into the future. And first are the top 3, the guys that are 100% a part of the future. Oliver Gonzalez. You know, one thing that worries me about Gonzalez, though, is his blocking is very low along with his reaction. That is concerning because there were pitches throughout the season. I didn't really show them when I was playing, but there were like simple low pitches he would just let get to the backstop. That could come back to bite us. So it's just something to monitor. But there is a possibility that his secondary position might change to first base, and he could be a first baseman depending on, you know, what his defensive ability looks like behind the plate. But then we'd be looking for a catcher once again. But it's just something to keep your eye out on. But he was a really good player this year. Very high on base percentage, which basically says he's a top of the lineup hitter. 386. That led us in on base percentage this year. Sal Frelick was really good, but we have one concern with him, and it's the fact that he's only under contract for 1 more year after this one. He's going into an arbitration year, and he's going to ask for big numbers in arbitration. Coming off of a year where he had pretty much the best season for an outfielder in our organization, he's making $7.7 million. He's probably going to demand like somewhere between like 9 and 12, probably, I'm guessing. Maybe even more. Who knows? The good thing is that Terrence Madlock is locked up for the next, 7 years, and he did not have an amazing season, but his injury was cut short a little bit just due to his injury, and that prompted him to have 160 less at-bats. And I think that may have hurt his development just a little bit, but I'm not too worried about Madlock. He's definitely going to be one of the better hitters in this organization going forward, and he is the face of the franchise, by the way. Jesus Sanchez will be a free agent. I'm not sure if I'm interested in bringing him back unless it's on a discount. His potential did decrease, by the way, which maybe could help us with re-signing him. Who knows? Brendan Rodgers is interesting because I really signed him to be a replacement for what we had, and he hit 255, which was an improvement of 254 from our previous second baseman. So I don't know about bringing him back. If he comes on a cheap deal, it's a possibility, but right now I'm not super high on Brendan Rodgers. Bob Engel is going to be interesting. Like I said, probably I project him to be a DH. I'm hoping that his fielding gets better, but probably not. I mean, it's way too low. And one thing I do like about him, that clutch rating at 81, like he's going to be probably a bat we could move up if he doesn't start at the MLB level right away in the second half and just be a very clutch player, a nice young clutch player for us. Ben Rice, another interesting season for Ben Rice. When we moved him up, he was hitting like 190. He was able to get his average up to 240. 50-point jump, which is incredible. I just don't know what to do with Ben Rice. Like, he is just so up and down. And I think that at this point, he's just more of just a bench first baseman. Elvis Esparza, 18 years old, came into this season 71 overall, has progressed up to 74. I would say that Esparza is possibly a starter coming into next year. It just depends on what's out there in free agency. He is 18. He's got a lot of development to do. There is a possibility we can move him down to the minors to get some more development. But he was actually pretty decent. He stole 22 bases. He scored 66 runs. I believe that led our team. And to be honest with you, I thought he had a pretty overall good rookie season. I didn't expect him to hit 300. That would have been nice with his high contact rating, but I didn't think that would actually happen. I thought he would be really good, though. Alek Thomas, let's talk about one of the bigger disappointments the last couple of years. Remember, he was the number 1 pick in the expansion draft, and I believe he started out as 69 overall at 24 years old, and look at the last 2 years. I mean, he has definitely declined in his production. This year he hit 13 home runs, but 228 average, 285 and 294 on base percentage respectively. That's just not good enough for us, and I think it's just time to part ways with Alek Thomas. And really the future of our outfield, at least in one of the outfield positions, is in flux, because Luis Lara, while I like Lara, he's not an everyday outfielder. I think that he's a guy that could fill in case of injury, play a string of games. I just don't think he's an everyday starter for us, and we need a better option here. But I think I do want to keep him around, obviously, and I think he's just a young player that we could obviously use as depth. Ryan O'Hearn, though, let's just talk about some more bad. He is declining fast, and the thing with his production that he had in season 2, that was, he hit 299, and I thought that he would be a guy that could be the starter for the next couple of years, but nope, it doesn't seem like that is the case. Justin Thompson Jr. was a depth catcher that we had. Tried him out as a starter for a little bit, and he seems like he's just more of a backup. Now, pitching-wise, this is where we had actually a decent year. Kevin Hopp was really good. He had the most innings pitched on the roster, and he went late in games. He had 1 complete game, and I thought he had a really good rookie year, to be honest with you. I even forgot he was a rookie at one point, but he was really good. Now, Brandon Woodruff probably will not be re-signed. However, if we get to the last point in free agency and he's still available for very cheap, I do want to bring him back. Mostly because I think that even if he's a bottom of the rotation starter, he's going to be a pretty good option for us. Esteban Calzado, though. Let's talk about our first ever pick in this series. He had a down year. This was, let's just call it what it was. It was a sophomore slump. He's going to need a huge bounce back year going into next year. Johnny Hood was a good player for most of this season, but then there were stretches where he did kind of show that he's not really an elite pitcher. But I do like Johnny Hood. His walks per 9 is very high, which is very good in sim. And he's getting better each year. So he's at 76 overall, still in his mid-20s. I still think he is a good bottom of the rotation starter. Now let's talk our bullpen, because we had some really good pieces here. And I thought this was probably the best part of our roster. Trent Thornton. Remember, we signed him because his agent contacted us saying, hey, I have Trent Thornton here. He'll sign for cheap. And we did it. And he's been great for us for 2 straight years. Elijah Vaughn was a lefty who we decided to use as a starter throughout the year. He hasn't been great. Ryan Yarbrough, though, he's been a really good reliever for us. Mariano Casto, he's been a good closer for us. Dennis Santana's been good. And then there was Kevin Huber, who we acquired at the deadline. And he was a really good option for us, even though it was in limited action. I do really like him in the future, and he's still only 20 years old, so he'll be 21 next season. So that's going to do it here for Season 4. I apologize for the delay in episodes here. I was just busy lately and just couldn't get to some episodes, but now we will head into the off season. This is going to be a big one. I can't wait to see what we have cooking. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.